In tonight's Spotlight, 10 years ago, Chance the Rapper changed the music industry with the release of Coloring Book, a project that became the first streaming-only album to win 3 Grammys and helped redefine what independent artists could achieve. Ike Ejiochi sat down with the Chicago native to talk about how he's giving fans a chance to relive the music that made history with his Coloring Book 10-year anniversary tour.
Chance, my man,
What's up,
appreciate you coming here to ABC News Live.
Thank you.
Absolutely. 10 years, man. 10 years since Coloring Book was made. I was just bumping that all week right now, getting ready for this, man. But just to look back and see how big that album was, did you ever expect it to be that big? And did you ever expect it to change the music industry the way it did?
Wow, that's a great question, and thank you. I don't want to say I expected it. I think I was hoping for there to be more access for independent artists and, like, you know, opportunities for people to be on big stages, for their music to be appreciated. And that was something I think to be expected by, you know, the constant advancements in just like the ways that people got music, you know. Streaming was kind of in its infancy as like a commercialized music space at that time. But so many of my friends that were artists were putting out their music exclusively on YouTube or SoundCloud or whatever, and were technically streaming only artists. So I hope that people would listen to it and love it, but I don't think I could say I expected it to be as impactful or to keep being impactful to people for this long.
Right. But I mean, you were the first one to really make that impact doing it that way. I mean, Coloring Book, it was the first streaming-only album to win 3 Grammys. Obviously, the first independent artist to do something like that. Just 10 years later, what does that specific milestone mean to you?
It's a great marker. I look at it as just like a moment in history that was like a further strive towards what we're still trying to get to, which I think is just equity for artists, like for the ability for people to make their own decisions, and I think you see it a lot now. You know, there's so many artists that are, you know, huge megastars, international stars, that are independent, and I think like as all of us continue to like make moves, I think it just gets easier and easier for the next generation to make those same moves or more.
Right. Now, Coloring Book 10-year anniversary tour, we're just talking about that. That's about to get underway right there. Obviously, I know you guys have been practicing that, getting everything ready for the stage show. So what has it been like to revisit those songs that everyone knows and love? And what has the reaction been from fans, people you know, as you're getting ready for this?
I think it's really beautiful. Like I did my first kind of anniversary concert I did for ASRAP, I think a couple years ago. And it's just this thing about going into, you know, I listen to my music sometimes, like old music, but not very often, you know. But there's a difference between just listening to it, you know, in my headphones and going to the studio and opening up the sessions and like looking at all these different instruments and voices and arranging them for the show and placing them in the set. Like I think that in itself, that process is super rewarding. But then also, like, I think looking at the lyrics to it, there's a lot of like just phrases and things that I wrote down that I've said a million times, but now being, you know, 10 years old or being 33 and looking at it and saying, you know, this is what it meant to me then, appreciating that, but also like recontextualizing the words to how it feels now. It's just a crazy feeling. It's weird. It's like going in a time machine, and I think that's part of my favorite part. But my favorite part is going to be doing it for real in front of people I haven't seen.
Oh, of course. You said something there before that was striking. You talked about the process.
Yeah.
You know? I want to talk about the process of your latest work, Starline.
Oh, yeah.
6 years to make that album. I mean, that's a long time to focus on anything, let alone a whole feature-length album. What did you learn about yourself going through that long process of making that album?
It's a great question. I think it taught me so much about my identity, like how I see myself as a person, my identity in the world, being a black man traveling around, because it was made in Ghana, it was made in the islands, it was made all over the country here, and I made a lot of friends, and a lot of people impacted me and impressed upon me, and also made me just recognize things about myself that maybe I didn't know until I spent time with them. And I've said it before, a lot of them were visual artists. I feel like I learned more about my artistry and where I consider myself in my works, less of like a character and more like a narrator. Just a lot of things. Like, I think if it didn't take all that time, it wouldn't be what it is. I think there's so many parts of my life, you know, even though it was just 6 years ago, 6 years is a long time.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm seeing those things through that.
Yeah. You know, whenever someone says Chance the Rapper, right? The first thing that comes to their head, Chi-Town, okay? The city of Chicago. We were just talking about, you live there right now.
Yeah.
You're, you know, outside of projects.
Yeah.
You pour so much into your city, you know.
Oh, thanks, man.
Outside of music. Why is that so important to you to give back to that city that you grew up in?
I think we just learned that at a young age. We were talking about it the other day, like a lot of the artists that are really, you know, popular, impactful artists, Vic Mensa and Lucky and No Name, a lot of artists from Chicago came up under this, you know, after school program that we were in together. And our mentor in the space, his name was Mike Hawkins. We called him Brother Mike. He, I feel like, taught us about mentorship at a young age and taught us about creating spaces and community work and advocacy. And like, you still see it in all these people's works, whether it's in the music or outside of the music. Like, I think all of us have a certain responsibility, or at least feel like we have a responsibility to shepherd the next generation of artists and beyond artists, just like our community, period.
Right. My man, Chance, looking forward to this tour. Appreciate you.
No, for sure.
Our thanks to Ike Adachi for that conversation. And you can catch the Coloring Book 10-year anniversary tour as it continues with stops all across North America.